Oh, wow. Cool. Hi, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in to watch another fantastic Worlds Collide race featuring two runners from our Warring Triads event. We have nobodywar of Team Valiant and narvs of Team Minerva competing under Group B, that is Paragon, doing a goddess seed for you all today. So, ought to be a great race to watch. My name is Gar. I'm joined in the booth today by Flurry14. Flurry, how are you? What's going on?
Doing pretty good. This is, I think, my first comp since back in the early KGB days. KGP days, sorry, Kefka Grand Prix.
I
Great
have
start.
additional questions for you.
Yeah, well, so yeah, let's see how this kind of rolls out. I believe this is going to be a match that first place in the Paragon group is going to be in the balance. You can see the standings up on the screen: Valiant at 3-0 and Minerva at 2-1. And the top two advance in this group. So you know who Team Illumina is kind of rooting for here. But yeah, big, definitely some pretty significant implications for this group in this match.
For sure, for sure. A lot on the line for both teams. Team Valiant wanting to hold on to that lead, and Team Minerva, right there on the border, does not want to drop below that dashed line you see there. If Illumina or Ragnarok have a good week, and if Minerva has a bad week this week, anything can happen. So, ought to be a fantastic race in any event today. So, let's talk a little bit about the Goddess flag set itself. It starts with 4 characters, so that is the most out of all 3 of our seeds here. Our Kefka Tower, or excuse me, our final Kefka unlock requirements are either to get 7 characters and 10 espers. You can defeat 3 dragons to get the auto shell buff, or 4 dragons to get the auto haste buff. Alternatively, you can do the Injured Lad quest in Mobliz to get both of them at the same time. It'll be interesting to see if either of our runners today show off that particular piece of tech. After 7 checks, the auto overcast and auto condemned statuses apply, which means that once a character dies, either from the effects of condemned or just plain old taking damage, they don't die. Instead, they become a zombie and they start randomly attacking any target on the battlefield. So our runners are going to be stocking up on a lot of revivifies for this flag set. A couple of other fantastic things to note. Multi-summon is enabled. I know a lot of runners talk about multi-summoning Bahamut as a source of damage, and that is certainly possible here. You do earn 6 times the magic points per fight, so that is more than usual compared to Doom, for example, which only gives you 4. And then you start with some additional lores. The item rewards here are focused around defense, so you can see there you get your Thunder Shields, your Minervas, your Snow Mufflers, how cozy, in addition to some other things like Megalixirs, Cat Hoods, and other highly defensive pieces of equipment. And finally, no fire, no ice, no Merton. You can't let Goddess take damage from spells like that, right? So
Gotta protect the goddess.
gotta protect the goddess. So look, what a starting party here. Umaro and Gogo, the classic combination, along with Terra and Cyan. So a lot of early checks opened up, and Umaro, as much as I don't like the Yeti, and I'm gonna get flamed for saying that, I'm sure, but he does make the early game very, very safe for our runners.
Yeah, and it also opens up the Coliseum check if you want to take the time to possibly pull a significant weapon, although sometimes you can just find a Ragnarok stashed inside a clock, just like Narvs found. But yeah, that can be really useful. Free Snow Muffler right off the bat. The defensive items, I think, of this flag set are going to make it relatively safe. The challenge, I would imagine, would be finding the offense to get your party up off the ground. Umaro can take some of that by bypassing defense with his bonk, but that, because we have the auto condemned and auto overcast. I'll be interested to see how these runners kind of manage that, because you don't want to be trying to do a victory by 1,000 cuts per se. You want that offense to be there. You want it to be strong. And defense, we're going to be covered at some point, but we'll see what the offense tends to be. When you pull a Terra on the start, how often do you tend to go immediately to the sealed cave treasury?
It's 100% of the time.
Okay.
Like, if I see Terra, I stop what I'm doing and I go and loot this out. But if it's early enough, I guess, in the seed. Certainly, if I start with her, there is no reason not to do this. It is by far the most treasure dense area in the game, and you get even more treasures in the actual cave itself. So, this is a very, very, very popular place to go if you start with Terra. Unfortunately, the loot here doesn't seem to be too terrific. You see a hero ring in a pot there, but that's about the only thing that I noticed. But nobodywar picking up a pair of fixed dice in the South Figaro basement there. So narvs with the rag and the clock. Nobodywar with the dice in the prison. So not a bad start. You mentioned earlier, Flurry, that offense was generally difficult to come by, and usually it is, but this particular seed seems to be coughing up the goods quite early.
Yeah, that Ragnarok, as long as we can pull an Esper to get the auto crit online, and the fixed dice, hopefully we have a character that can use them. Granted, two of the characters don't necessarily use fixed dice in an optimal fashion, but that might be enough to get us off the ground. As far as check quality with these starting characters, Umaro's actually pretty great. You can get a dragon and an Esper check, and that back Narsh right off rip. The go-go check is if those bridge monitors are not driving you up a wall and off a cliff. Kind of not fun, but science checks are also absolutely fantastic. We get that 3-in-1 from World of Ruin Doma. We get a quick boss check at World of Balance Doma. Terras, after this, they don't get great. The only check we have that's going to have encounters is Leet River, and that's usually held off toward the end because it's a risky check if you have to do it, but that is something our runners can do. And we'll find out where we go from the obvious check, I think, as we mentioned before, which would be this sealed cave. What comes next, and if the runners feel they need to take a couple grind fights to get the levels up to the point. Fixed dice at level 3, not great. Ragnarok at level 3, not great. A character at level 3, not great. So we'll see how the runners deal with that.
So a couple of interesting things to note. Narvs picked up a Super Ball, which if the Yeti weren't in the party, Gogo could mimic that Super Ball over and over again and get through basically everything right off the rip. Unfortunately, because the Yeti is going to do what the Yeti's going to do, he's going to mess all of that up. But more importantly, nobodywar found an EXP egg in the South Figaro basement. So just tons and tons of fantastic stuff down there. And I think that egg is going to put him squarely in the lead for right now. We'll see if Narvs winds up going into the basement. But with the Terra start, it's unlikely that he does so just because the loot here is so dense that you often just don't even need it.
Yeah, for sure. The tower open in the back, I thought maybe nobodywar might, after going to the save point, might take that first encounter, but it's going to keep on going. We find, also gets that Super Bowl, we do find stars in the shop, and the Esper price was 52k. No thanks. I'm gonna go ahead and check the other one.
We'll see what it's like in the other world. Let's hope for a discount there. Now, the abilities that we have, Gogo can have any ability, but unfortunately, he is not a terrific character, so that's mostly whatever. I think that one of the abilities is Sword Tech, and since we have Cyan, well, we can go ahead and get all the Sword Techs online. So that's kind of what I'm eyeballing right now. If I were in these runner shoes, I think what I would do is take some fights outside of Siege, then take Siege proper, and then just immediately flip and go do that, because Sword Tech 7 is extremely powerful, and I want that online as soon as possible.
Yeah, Sword Tech 7 is absolutely an endgame quality build. You'll also get access to Sword Tech 8, so that'll take care of any instant death stuff that you need for the Kefka fight. And yeah, the World of Balance Doma, that's a very good check. You can even just go straight to the boss and kind of wait for Umar to take his turn and hope that 2 Super Balls is enough. For the very first boss, that might kind of get the job done right there.
At low enough scaling, absolutely. And I would probably be looking at a similar sort of thing, but I do hate being on level 3. I am very likely to take a random encounter just to get off of it, and then let the boss fund the rest of our XP.
Yeah, 100% there. But we'll see which check they decide to go for. Often with an Umaru start, World of Ruin Narsh is kind of where I go first, but looks like we're getting a Coliseum check to try to leverage this Yeti right away. Oh, so he's not going to get the Ragnarok.
No, he's not going to
Or
get that
not the
EXP
Ragnarok.
egg.
The EXP egg, that's right. The Ragnarok was the Ragnar clock from.
Yeah. Now, it is entirely possible that nobodywar just doesn't get that Ragnarok either. So, I will say that in a vacuum, that the egg is more valuable than the Ragnarok, but that is not a slight against the Ragnarok at all. It is an end-game sword. Anybody who has it has their offense solved right off the rip. So, I still give the edge to nobodywar
Oh,
because,
look at that.
well.
Where are these Colosseums when I'm racing?
No kidding, right? What a stacked Coliseum. So I didn't see what traded for the Illumina there, but how about a free egg? Well,
It's a remedy.
that puts narvs right back in. It's a remedy for the Illumina. Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. I'll take 20.
Yeah, I think you burn both remedies here and get as many Illuminas as you can. You might want to check to see which of your characters can equip it. We know Terra comes stock with an Illumina in hand. The way the equipment works in this randomizer, you start, every character will have what they can normally have, and then there's a random percent on top of that. So a character that doesn't necessarily have the Illumina in their base equipment set, like Cyan, it's like what in this flex, I believe a 30% chance. I know Doom it's bumped up, but I don't think it is in God.
Yeah, so for Goddess and Poltergeist seeds, it's 33% chance on top of their base equipment
There
to
you go.
be able to equip whatever they to be able to equip anything they might not otherwise be able to. I hope I said that right.
No, I think that's right.
So that being said, there are a lot of characters that can equip it naturally. It looks like Terra is the only one right now, but we do need to find an additional 3 characters. Edgar, Locke, and Celeste are all on the table. It seems pretty likely that we'll get at least one of those,
Yeah.
and they can just naturally equip it. Or maybe we get some other character and they're able to equip one. So
Yeah,
Narvs,
this is Umaro's contribution to the party right now.
Umaro is it is worth his weight in gold right now to do this. So I do not begrudge Narvs one bit here, picking up a bunch of really good stuff. So and then gonna go do the go check after that. I don't hate this. Did he pick up warp stones at any point though?
Yes.
Okay, so he'll be able to go and get this check pretty quickly, and then just warp stone out. So yeah, once you've got power overwhelming, like Narv seems to have, I don't hate this one bit.
Yeah, nice sequence on nobodywar's side, doing the well check first, so you can peek as to whether or not you're getting a character at the Umaro spot. Just wants to let us know in chat. It is Setzer. Now we already have a character that can use fixed dice, but hey, I'll take more of them. And Setzer's checks are like, he has a couple that are really fast and efficient, so that's very nice to have. And yeah, once you get warp stones, this go check. How do you feel about having go in your endgame party?
I almost never do it. There
Yeah.
are a couple of times where he can actually be useful. So, for example, if you have the rage ability with the stray cat, which allows him to do 4 times damage, I'll keep him then, because even like the worst weapon will still do respectable damage in the hands of Gogo if its damage is being multiplied by 4. So otherwise, I tend to keep him out. It's pretty rare that I keep him in the party, because you will usually find something else for somebody to do, somebody with actual stats who can equip espers and whatnot. So
Yeah, I wonder if sword tech, like Schwan said in chat, if having a second sword tech might be considered, you know, worthy of keeping Gogo in the party. Narvs did pick up a flame shield, worth noting in this flag set. While flame shield still is an excellent piece of gear, and we know we're going to have to face the statues at some point, so having that for the spicy chicken is incredibly useful. It is not going to teach us fire 2, fire and ice spells, as we mentioned at the beginning, cannot be learned. So that's one of the challenges on a lot of these flag sets that are not named Doom. Is, I know, at least in my experience, those elemental spells kind of are the get me over fastball of of this particular randomizer for the first 20-30 minutes, and when you don't have that, you can be in trouble. But fixed dice also demonstrating on nobodywar side, because it ignores defense, that Tritalk, so we can't use fire magic. That could be a huge problem, but fixed dice is going to take care of that really well.
yeah, I do like single tossing fixed ice in the early game, specifically because of bosses like Tritalk and Magimaster, where you can't really otherwise damage them. Unfortunately, it just gets a cat hood there, but cat hood is a good hat, so it's gonna double Nobody War's money. And if we find something cool in a shop, it is possible to buy Illuminas and EXP eggs. So if Nobody War just randomly comes across it, then he might be in a better position to buy something like that than Narvs will. It is less impactful this seed, because you can just go to the Coliseum and get your stuff for free, but the option's there.
Yeah, and we'll see what that World of Ruin Zen price is, because we know the World of Balance one is 52k. So that means pretty much whatever the World of Ruin is probably what we're going to be buying. And if that ends up being like a 30-40k, if we can get that sooner, that can be nice. Zen Thief is not an Esper. Okay, cool. So never mind. You can hold that 52k, and nobodywar is gonna go ahead and start the dream sequence here, and hopefully get that sword tech going.
Yep. So Dome of Dream here, 2 bosses, 3 checks. It is a favorite of everybody, basically. I don't think anybody dislikes Cyan checks, even if they dislike Cyan himself. So as long as the bosses here are reasonable, then I don't think nobodywar will have any trouble getting through. But there are a couple that could throw a spanner in the works. Air Force can be dangerous. He doesn't have a lot of HP, but because of the scaling here, it's possible that they can do like diffuser to the entire party, and all 3 parts there can do diffuser. So if he does that, seed's over. So hopefully he doesn't do that.
Yeah, launcher can come out at a relatively early scaling, but like you said before, the HP is kind of the failing on this particular boss. Narvs is throwing a little bit of curveball here. Is going to do Leet River first, so it's going to try to get a whole bunch of experience on that first check. But this is a dangerous check, because while you do get those encounters and a save point before the boss, you are going to have to fight a boss at the end. And if you are not ready for that boss, and it ends up being something that you can't take on, that's a whole lot of time that you have to deal with. And not to mention the possibility of, you want to manage your save files very well on the Leet River. You don't want to be kind of stuck on the river having a Magimaster at the end.
Yeah, that would be disaster. That being said, I do like this play. Not a lot of runners go to Leet because it is kind of a longer check, which means that if there is like a character at the end of this, that could put Narvs in a pretty commanding position if nobodywar just doesn't find another character. But it's swingy, right? Because if this check is dead, then Narvs has the opportunity to just, you know,
Yeah,
snap the victory, right? So we'll see what happens.
yeah. A
I
lot
am
of it comes down to what the encounters actually are. Like the bogeys, they aren't great, but if you get, you know, once in a blue moon, you get something like the Gigantos on Leet River, and you're like, oh, I'm level 35, 20 minutes into the game. Here we go.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but these Actinions, I probably butchered that pronunciation. Not terribly great either. Or yeah, 540.
Yeah, a little bit thematically appropriate. You do find the Actanian enemies in the Serpent Trench, so finding them in the Elite River. Eh.
It makes more sense than the dogs.
That dog's got to go swimming, right?
All right, second boss on, the last boss on the science check is the cranes. They are going to have level 2 magic, but you can see our party is just going to kind of shake that off. HP isn't great here, so we should have that sword tech going. And Flare is, as far as your offense, I have definitely seen dissenting opinions on Flare. While it is an exceptionally powerful spell on its own, the cast time, you could feel the clock ticking upward when you're in a race and you have the Flare animation going on. But we'll be sword teching pretty soon.
I say a lot that you've got to do what you've got to yabba dabba do. So if what you've got to yabba dabba do is cast flare, so be it. But
Yep.
that is not the ideal, I would say. So, but picking up a golem esper, that's kind of
fantastic.
ideal. So there's your calmness protection. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Sword Tech 7 and 8 online. Sword Tech 6 is also like it's real damage, especially in this flag set. And it can set stop, which is relevant for Poltergeist. So fantastic there. It did pick up another Esper on the throne there. I didn't see what that was.
It was Madeline. Yeah,
Maduin.
Golem is probably the best as far as uses, practical uses that you're going to get. Golem might, if it's not the best, it's in the S tier as far as Espers you're going to use as an item. Bahamut's probably on this particular flag set. And yeah, bosses you don't want to see at the end. Like the good news, Narvs is at what, 4 and 2? So he's done 3 checks. Chad's HP just goes through the roof. You really quickly hit that 5-digit number. And having Umaro in this party is not going to help things either.
I think he'll be okay. Unfortunately, Chattanooga does have just a whole boatload of HP, but he should get through, especially if we can get a Pearl proc off of Terra there.
Yeah, was Narvs the one who picked up the Super Ball?
Both of our runners did, so they both have access to it. I think that they are saving that Super Ball for a dragon. That is my best guess.
I'd want to. This is the spot where I'd consider using it.
And I do not disagree, not one bit. And speaking of dragons, hey, how about nobodywar fighting the Ice Dragon at the Ice Dragon location?
And that's gonna put him at 441, so he's getting pretty close to having the overcast and condemned on there. Correct me if I'm wrong. Condemned, I believe, scales off of stamina, or is that regen?
That's a great question. I honestly do not pay too much attention to Condemned until it is literally about to kill me. So, but yeah, there it is. I do believe that it's based off of stamina. The auto Condemned that we get here, I think it operates a little bit differently.
Okay.
Because like in a regular seed, say that tier 3 does Condemned on you, normally that timer is 19 seconds. The auto-condemned at the same spot is closer to like 40 seconds. And I do not know where the discrepancy is there, but
Okay,
and we
good
do
to know.
Runic Magitech Gal for Narvs. Again, I was saying that if there's not a character anywhere that nobody war checks, this is potentially pretty big.
Yeah, Magitech's a good one, but in this flag set, we ain't doing Ultros League, so I don't believe we get. Do we get the Magitech buff?
We do not know.
Yeah.
So, Magitech, like just the base form of Magitech, is the 3 elemental beams, so fire, ice, and bolt beam, in addition to heal force, which is like a single target cure 3. You can think about it that way. In Ultros League flag sets, we would have an option to do the the Magitech factory in order to unlock the rest of the Magitech abilities, which includes things like X-Fur and, more importantly, Tech Missile.
Yeah.
So that is not available here. So the elemental beams are good, but they're going to fall off pretty soon, honestly. I'm not 100% sure what Narvs' levels are like right now. I think that they're creeping up to the 30s. Oh, nope, never mind. Closer
16.
to the 20s. So it's still useful for a little bit. But yeah, once you start getting into like high 20s, early 30s, you want that gal to be doing something different.
I really do like Narvs following up on what you had talked about, where, you know, if you get the character that your other racer isn't going to get, you know, hopefully you can leverage that into something. So is going to do the Gao checks immediately, and they are right next to each other as far as the starting point. But that is not a character. It is going to be Show. Well, I mean,
Shoot the goat.
yeah, you don't hate Espers at any point in time, so we'll see. He did take. Well, he's going to be switching his party up now, so this is where the decision comes in. Is going
Taking
to keep
Umaro over
Umaro.
Gogo.
Okay.
I think that's defensible here. You still want to get rid of Umaro eventually, but he is, at this stage, better than Gogo. I was kind of curious to see if he would follow up and do Serpent Trench, but it looks like Narvs is going to go up and take care of Doma Siege. So probably looking at that sword tech and thinking, yeah, I better get that online pretty soon. So meanwhile, nobody war touching the statue, finding the very stompy Setzer.
Yeah, that was a very good Esper. Strength +2 plus Warp and X Zone on Narvs' side. So that'll be great for your Ragnarok user. Just throw that on them, and they're good for the rest of the seed.
I think you put it on Cyan. So once it, like that sword tech is going to get real big, real fast.
Oh yeah. No, that's a good call.
So yeah, Atma here. I don't think nobody will have any issues with it. Casting Flare, probably not what you want to do. He takes damage from Fire, Ice, and Bolt, and Bolt 3 is right there. I would just cast Bolt 3 over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's a little bit faster. But hey, we get a pretty good dice roll.
And here, we'll see the power of Sword Tech 7. Sword Tech 7 is very similar to Sword Tech 4. The difference is that it ignores defense, and that is huge for pumping out the damage. But not from Gogo, because he sucks.
Alright, well, Cat Hood get on Narv's side. We'll see what the next play is. I believe he still has Doma Dream. Like the 5 characters here, pretty nice. Characters, I mean, I guess it really depends if you start with 2, 3, or 4, whether or not. That seems to be like the biggest variance, right? Where sometimes you'll get no characters and they'll all be funneled into one place. That's usually where Strago tends to show up. Or they'll be everywhere in several different forks, and you're just good to go. But yeah, we're gonna do Doma Dream right here.
Rage and Setzer, I do like it. And nobody wore going down to 1. I am assuming that that means that he's going to go do
Umar. Or
Zone Eater, but
yeah.
it looks like he only had 1 Warp Stone, and he just used it to hightail it out of there. So
Yeah, hoping to really find warp stones in Cohilligen.
yeah, we'll see what he finds here. I would be very, very careful if I'm Nobody War at this point. You do not want to fly around the world of ruin until you've done the Doom Gaze check. Otherwise, you run into him. Excuse me, you run into him when there's one member of your party,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's gonna suck. There's a sniper there. If Stray Cat is one of the rages that Nobody War has access to, then that is potentially a very nice weapon as long as he can equip it. So
All this flying around with one character in the party is getting me a little nervous here.
he is tempting fate. Okay, but
We're
looks
looking
like
for
he is in fact going to go and look for warp stones. Does not find them in World of Ruin Ikea. I would have liked to see him shop a little bit more there, just because it's a place that not a whole lot of people go to, and if you wind up spiking a Ragnarok or an Illumina in the shop, then you could potentially just get well ahead of your opponent there.
Yeah, it's the old Miranda corollary, right? No one ever
Eg-
goes to Miranda to shop, so you check Miranda. If it has a great weapon, congrats, you got something no one else is gonna get.
Exactly. There's always money in the Miranda stand.
All right, Albrook's a pretty good one. He's gonna get some loot here because Narvs. I want to say he got it in one of the more common shops, so that's probably either World of Balance, Albrook, or maybe the Returner Hideout. One of those.
Yeah, it does feel really bad watching Nobody War try and zip around and hunt for warp stones when Narvs already has some.
Yeah,
Uh,
just flatly making up time here. I mean, there's smoke bombs. Might want those.
yeah, nope. He is firmly on the gimme stones train.
All right, now we're gonna check World of Balance. We're safe. Ish.
As long as he finds them, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is definitely looking like a play where maybe if you had done the just kept your party members at 4 and did the search the skies right away, would have cleaned it up a little bit. But yeah, this is just bad luck now. It is World of Balance. Albrook is what Schwantz is saying. I figured it would be one of the more common ones.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, we're warping.
Chat asking if he could have also walked out of Mount Zozo. He could have. The problem is that the Mount Zozo walk is one of the longest in the game. So you really do want warp stones before you do it. And fortunately, Nobody War found them relatively quickly. He did burn a couple of minutes looking around for him, but has them now. Gonna be getting eaten. I believe that there was an Esper down here, so gonna be 5 and 7, and a very quick eat there by Zone Eater. You'll love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, the shopping time is basically going to give Narvs the dream sequence almost for free. As far as time going, he's on the crane fight right now. One crane down, the other one not long for this world.
Yeah,
See if we get good luck here with the bridge guards. They tend to just sit on the left side and hang out for me. I don't
just
know how
like
it goes
that.
for you. Yeah.
So that being said, I don't necessarily hate that he flew around that long to look for them because they can save you so much time, especially if you wind up doing Terra's Zozo check, which is probably the longest run back in the game.
Oh yeah.
So now you just have a way to get out of that. That bridge troll there is
Oh, game, come on.
being very rude.
Yeah, I don't remember. I know Narvs has an Esper that teaches warp. That's another avenue you can kind of hopefully obtain that. Always the right guy. You can just, as long as you're holding A, you can just go up and get his autograph. But if you are in the same zip code as that middle dude, he's gonna knock you off.
and sure enough, down he goes. So that's the number 3. Will number 4 be the time that he gets through? Nope.
Oh, I it's something that I do quite often. Narvs did not check the Dome of Throne.
Oh no.
Did not check the third one. Now, if he's using a tracker, um, it'll tell you how many of those checks you've done. So if you see the number 2 there, you might figure that out. But I mean, I do it all the time, so I totally understand how that feels. You just got the sequence done. You're in a race. First place is on the line. You just get out of here.
Yeah,
And go on to your
the
next thing.
nerves are real. 100%. And meanwhile, nobodywar has gotten tossed off by the bridge troll, I think 5 times now. I hope that he is not tilted. It is really easy for me to tilt on these guys. I would be. Ooh.
Yeah. If you're this and if we see a Strago, I'll see if I can avoid pulling out the Ebbets Rock soapbox for a stream. But oh boy, it's just the luck of which direction are they going to go. If that dude's sitting on the left side, like you can't yell at him to come to the right. There's nothing you can really do.
I
Storm
yell at
Dragon
him all the time.
was on our screen for about 10 seconds and it's gone.
Yeah, so we had a vanilla ice dragon and a vanilla storm dragon here. Let's see what we get here. Red jacket is okay. I think at this point you really want a Minerva, but
Yeah.
red jacket will work. And hey, nobodywar getting past that guy. Please save.
Save. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Oh no!
Oh, no.
Don't get squashed. Oh no! Don't do it. Okay.
Not getting too greedy.
Oh, he's through. Oh my gosh.
All right, we're good. Just a dead check at the top of Mount Zozo, so we basically got levels and extra scaling. Force armor again can be good, but we'd really kind of rather have the Minerva.
Yeah. Minerva, a snow muffler for that Gao. Something nice and juicy.
Yeah, Snow Muffler great for whoever's using the Ragnarok, since you have to put them in the front row. And if no other boss, the Kefka 1 arm that you tend to leave for last hits hard. So there's Ultima. I know a lot of strategies I've seen runners employees revolve around finding an economizer or a gem box, both of which are in the goddess reward pool. And Ultima's a pretty good spell, y'all. So we'll see if we get those. We're at 5 and 7, so we're gonna get a few checks.
Yeah,
but yeah, like fun
that
that Sword Tech 5 that just regens our MP for us.
Yeah, and that's one of the times where Gogo actually comes in handy, because he can mimic Ultimas and they don't cost MP. Now they're gonna do about 700 damage because it's Gogo mimicking, but it is a real source of damage. That being said, I think that Narvs, like if he wants to actually do Ultima strats, he's gonna want to find at the very least a gold hairpin, if not an economizer.
Yeah, and I think that could be his onus for going to get the dragons here. They do give a truckload of magic points, so if you have a ×1, oh, is he short on money?
He
and
sure
then
is.
Of course it's level 50 magic who shows up.
Now you can, like, these guys are undead, so you can revivify them. I don't know if they give money though.
Yeah, I that's what I was gonna ask. I feel like I know they don't give experience. I feel like it's just magic points. Which we're sitting on a ×1 Ultima.
I think that's the first time that we've seen the rage list there. I didn't see too many things of note, but Doom Dragon is Doom Dragon is a very, very cool rage. It casts the North Cross spell, so it freezes people.
Oh,
And
this
these
one's
drops
fun.
should give like a bunch of money.
Well, it's better than finding a Telstar. But yeah, this is why the drops are kind of a pain in the butt. We got some pretty good weapons. Are we all about to get Sword Tech 6'd? We are.
Yep.
Oh no. Ugh. And then the stunner proc on Cyan.
You love to see it.
Oh wait, there's one of your characters who isn't confused. Let's take care of that.
Yeah, so unfortunately, if you don't get the drop on the drops, they can be like very rude. I'm sorry. I would say I'd never do that again, but I'm going to.
No, do that more.
If I'm not mistaken, these are like really, really beefy as far as the EXP is concerned, but I might be confusing these with the junk enemies, which have the same sprite. So unfortunately, nobodywar walked in there with about $500. You need 1,000 in order to buy the rust rid.
We're gonna get out of here. That is much better.
Great rage too. So if Setzer didn't have anything to do before, he certainly does now.
All right, and we get 6,400. All right, cool.
Very good.
We're good to go.
Worth noting too, I think that's actually a cat hood boosted 6,400. So just 3,200 base for the toe cutter there. How does a mantis get so much money?
I mean, how does anything in any of these monsters end up with money is one of the many mysteries.
That's true. I'll write my dissertation on Final Fantasy VI and how a bear gets millions of dollars.
I mean, that bear jumps across the screen really fast when he executes the steal command. So
that's true.
God, I remember playing through vanilla the first time, and not only does it take money, it takes like 9,000. You're like, wait, no, give that back.
And in case anybody in chat is curious, the enemy we're talking about is called an Ursus.
Yeah.
I believe it's translated in future versions as a mugbear, and it steals from you. And if you kill it after it steals from you, you get like a really big multiplier on your money back. Very, very fun enemy. One of my favorites.
Nice little optimization. Granted, this is probably the free enterprise player in me speaking out, but when you get the chance during your spell animations, especially in Final Fantasy VI, where the ATB bar does run during animations, so it benefits you to be sitting in a menu. Move your Phoenix down to the top, put your sleeping bag second. Really quick menuing, because those are the two things you're probably going to be using the most often when you get them.
I like to put my warp stones at the very top.
I used to do that, and then KT happened.
Oh.
And I may have warp stoned instead of sleeping bags.
Well, so the one rule that I have when I do that is that you can never ever put warp stones and sleeping bags next to each other.
Yeah.
You will warp out, and you will tilt immediately.
Yes, can confirm.
So in any event, just be careful. Nobodywar getting through that fight just fine. Narvs getting through the Atma just fine. So nobodywar, unfortunately, I think this is a force armor. Gonna be disappointed. Narvs at 6 and 5. Tough to say who's actually in the lead here. I do think that Narvs has the edge right now just because of the character advantage, even though nobodywar is 2 espers up on him. So
yeah, having that Gao is pretty significant at this point, and that the Velt check was an esper as well. So those are two that nobodywar isn't going to have, even though he's got more espers at this point. It certainly looks like, well, we'll see what happens, but you I see more often in races you have folks at like 6 and 10 than you do sitting at 7 and 8. Right.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Uh, Seeds tend to skew one way or the other, and I found that more true with these War and Triad flag sets than any other, but that may just be uh, like some kind of recency bias showing on my end.
And as mentioned in chat, like the weapon difference is pretty significant too, right? Having narvs or that Coliseum is just going to have repercussions the entire game.
Right, yeah. So like a check like that, it really it compounds basically where you have an advantage and uh like because of your advantage you're able to you're able to do checks faster, you're able to do things much more smoothly than the character or the other racer who didn't.
All right,
So
so maybe you can help me out on this one. Narvs is going into KT early. Um, is this would this be a loot check or a dragon check?
uh that's a really interesting play.
Yeah, I think
So-
what Narvs is going to do is he's overloaded his team into Party 3. So he'll
Right.
beat Inferno, he'll beat Guardian, and beat Poltergeist, and then warp out of the tower. And he's got a much stronger party against a much weaker Poltergeist spot now. And then he could split his party up 2 and 2 to take on the other two statues when he's ready to go back in.
Okay, and you're
that
going to get a
might
pretty
go.
significant amount of experience from this too.
And
That's
you
going to
don't-
go to your entire party.
Yeah, and you don't scale up the enemies because these are not checks.
Right, and I think we mentioned this in the pre-roll, but the skip rolls were not very favorable for our runners. I believe it was 10 and 14.
Yeah, 10 characters,
24
14
checks?
espers, and 24 checks. So
Yeah.
it's
Probably not
unlikely
too
that
bad.
the skip happens here.
Okay, I'll have to try this out. I love seeing any kind of innovation in routing.
Yeah, so the thing is, even walking back through the tower twice is probably like 5 or 6 minutes, all in all, but you also are saving time fighting these bosses with a full party, and
Right.
they're also lower level. So it kind of evens it out a little bit, and it's much safer to do it this way.
Okay, good to know. Looks like it was Kefka roaming the skies. I feel like there's a lore beat we could sneak in there somehow, but
Yeah, maybe. I will leave that to you, Flurry, because I've got nothing.
something light of judgment. Look, he just light of judgment the restream and made it the screen go off to the side a little bit. So that
Kefka's he's too powerful. He's coming through the computer.
but not an Esper. Do we get the Minerva we wanted? We get a Genji armor. Well, I mean, it's not bad. You
It's
hate
really
going
not
in.
what you want to see, though. You know.
Yeah. Like, how often do you go into the Kefka fights with like leather armor and a cotton robe, and it's just not a good time. So they hit you.
That's my favorite.
We're getting a look at the list of rages here. I'm not seeing anything terribly great. Although I only know like the level 3 ones and Stray Cat.
Yeah. Like I said, Doom Dragon is probably the most interesting one there, just because it can cast Northcross. So nothing in the game is immune to freeze. So, you can freeze Final Kefka if you want to.
A little surprised that hasn't been like that's not a setting to take out because Nightshade is the other one with Charm that does have a setting.
Yes. The difference is that the Nightshade ability, I think it's Charm, right? So
Yeah.
just like Freeze, nothing in the game is immune to Charm, but Charm always hits. Northcross has 2 different rolls that it has to make before something
Okay.
is considered frozen. So it's still, I would say that it's very, very powerful. And if you hit that person with a fire spell, they're gonna,
Right.
fall. But in this flag set, that's not really an issue. So
Yeah, continuing the equipment advantage, Narvs did pull a snow muffler from the right side, so again, the equipment on Narvs' side is just absolutely fantastic. I think this is our first runner checking Daryl's tomb, so we're gonna start to see, like, we're running out of places to check. We could be looking at straight up required Leet River.
And that would be absolutely disastrous for nobodywar. The signs that he doesn't like the Spectre here. Running away, I think, is fine if you don't care about the hyper wrist. I personally, I would just kill it. You never know when that hyper wrist is going to come up, especially if you wind up going to the Coliseum and you wind up pulling those Illuminas. So, in any event, we'll see what's here.
Yeah, I think you're right. The animation time is a wash, but I think that said Red Cap. That is
Red Cap sleeps here.
Yeah, normally I would consider resetting, but leader is really fast, so like we're gonna up the scaling, which is a little bit of a bummer, but I do feel like when you get to a certain point in the scaling, you're like, all right, it's up there, it's gonna be what it is. Fast experience, sure. Red Cap will give us more HP, but yeah, what do we have left as far as the base checks other than Leet River? I think it's World of Balance Zozo.
World of Balance Zozo, and for Narvs, Serpent Trench is on the table.
And Mobley's, yeah, the World of Ruin Mobley's.
Yep.
Which, Baba Breath still. I mean, yes, we got rid of Foonbaba 3 being in KT a while ago, but he lives on to annoy us through this particular check. But we do get to see what it is. It's a red jacket. That's we're not going to do that.
We're never coming back here.
Don't worry, kids,
or are we? Okay, no, just picking up the Doom Darts. Yeah, so a little bit unfortunate for nobodywar, because yeah, he is down to either, well, he could do Kefket Narsh.
I want to say we've seen that on somebody's side, but I could be misremembering. I want to say somebody put that in with the Welk check.
I don't remember if that's the case, but in any event, nobodywar is making the correct play to go down the Leet River. Narvs is tangling with some tentacles.
Yeah, as long as
this is at the Guardian spot.
Yeah, as long as this boss isn't in the first 20 minutes, you're okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the
3K on the Quadra Slice. Yeah, we got our Kefka damage dealer.
At least one of them, yeah. That's the power of Sortex 7.
All right, so on all these flag sets, the statues are shuffled. So we're going to get statues at the statue bosses. It may not be what's vanilla, although in this case it is. Now, the downside is the statues, they're really tough. They can be really tough bosses in this spot. The plus side is that we have time to prepare for it. So I know at least nobodywar has a stunner. That's one of the precautions you'd want to take against Poltergeist. Sortex 6 can also proc stop as well. But I think the biggest safeguard here is just having 4 party members, right?
That's certainly a big one. And this is a goddess, so the actual stop spell is on the table. I don't think that any of the Espers actually had it, and if they did, Narvs did not learn it. So I'm gonna have to kill Poltergeist the good old-fashioned way. Shouldn't have too much trouble. He does have that auto shell from killing. He's got auto haste as well. He looks like he did kill 4 dragons. And down he goes. No muss, no fuss.
All right. Of the 3 statues, which is the one you'd want to see out of the way?
Honestly, that one.
Yeah.
Poltergeist is just so incredibly rude. Like if I had to rack and stack, it's Polty number 1, Goddess number 2, and then Doom number 3. Doom, usually, like all he does is bop. He bops hard, but all he does is bop.
All right. I think this is an information check here.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I was hoping that Narvs would do this just to see what this is. Now, will he remember by the time that he comes back in here that to set up party 1 and party 3 appropriately?
Yeah. Well, if nothing else, we have vanilla statues across the board, so you can remember it that way. That'll help. But yeah, now we've got a truckload of levels. We're pretty much set as far as levels go on endgame on Narvs' side. But the worry here for me is that Narvs is now gonna, because he didn't do the Serpent Trench later, we've seen the vast amount of dead checks, right? So if everything does end up funneling through that character, nobodywar may actually end up doing Serpent Trench first.
It seems pretty likely that he will. And Narv, like it's got to be pretty high up in Narvs' head right now that Serpent Trench is probably the place to be. But he's gonna go check Daryl's tomb first, or did he not do the Coal Cafe?
Yeah, I think sometimes you'll see runners put off the super easy checks just to not jump up the scaling right away, and then if you don't do it in the first 5 minutes, out of sight, out of mind.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Magic Power +2 Esper there, so very nice, very good. Unfortunately, I don't know if that gal knows Bolt 3 yet, so still sticking with the Elemental Beams for now.
Yeah, that was the Magic Power 2 from the Cohilligen check, right? That's not where you want to see it if you're making that check at 53 minutes.
No, you want as much time with it as possible.
Yeah, because I'd be worried my opponent did this right after the Terra check and has had Magic Power +2 on a character for the entire time.
Yeah, that is a risk. But you know, you play the hand that you're dealt.
Yep.
So Narv's gonna go in here, gonna waste a couple of minutes, find out there's a red cap. Would not be surprised if he just reset out of it.
Yeah, probably. Well, I don't think Narvs is the one with fixed dice, right? That's nobodywar who has it.
Nobodywar has the fixed dice. Narvs has the Rag Illu.
Yeah, I remember the Rag and Lumina, so probably, I would imagine, less likely to check the trap chest. I know some runners just like to check them in case of Gigantos Break Glass.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we just did KT to get a whole bunch of experience, so I
would be checking the monsters in a box. With the fixed dice, you don't want to be single tossing it at this point in time. It's good early, but late game you want really consistent sources of damage, and while offering doesn't make the dice consistent, it does make it better for the dice to be consistent. I don't know if that made sense, but it gives you more chances at better rolls. So it smooths out that damage over time.
All right, so, Narvs is going to straight up reset out. I like it.
Yep. Zozo, Serpent Trench, or Kefka at Narsh.
All right, well, we're heading to World of Balance, and we're wrapping around. So it looks like, okay, we are heading to Serpent Trench. That's good on Narv's side. This is, I would imagine, one of the more likely character checks we're going to get here, which would be character 7.
I think so. The way that Worlds Collide is built, you are more likely to get characters from your most recently acquired character. So that being said, I don't hate this just in a vacuum. There's 4 fixed encounters down here, and you've got a lot of physical offense. And the way that it works is that the more levels you have, the more physical damage you do. The more magical damage you do too, but it is a lot better for physical damage dealer.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, that was an ouchie. 2K on a physical hit from these things. I think I wonder if it's a wash. Well, I mean, we're in Serpent Trent, so I guess everything's a wash. But going to the right, at least on the first side, because you're skipping a fight to go through that cave, which is just like 10 steps, and then you're out again. So yeah, Narvs is going to go right here. It's fine on levels.
Yeah, and I don't hate this either. It is kind of surprising, though, that he got two of basically the same formation here. That's unusual.
All right, this time you're not hurt. 2K and 11. Okay, 11K. One other nice thing about being, the scaling being so high is that the GP you kind of get from some bosses, or from the regular checks, can be kind of absurd.
Oh, don't forget too that Narvs has
The cat hood too.
So
yeah.
Money, his cup runneth over. Okay, Narvs showing that he does actually have Bull 3 on Gao, which is very, very good. Perfect time for him to pivot off of the Magitech, so yeah.
Alright, so we'll be getting... Oh, we got one more. Or two more fights, I think. Alright, well, at least we're not getting pincer attacked again. Instead, we're just getting scorpion pincers.
Yep. Pinchy, pinchy.
As long as they aren't lobsters. FFR reactions.
Okay. So yeah, hopefully this is a character. If not, we are really close to Narsh, so we'll climb up the mountain. Oh wow!
Okay, so
not only is it not a character, it's dead.
Head check too. So we're going to checks that people generally tend to fade later. One of the two. Although I think Kefka and Narsh gets a lot more play now than it used to.
I think a lot of Doom flag sets or Doom seeds have really shown just how often a character can be there. So would have really liked to see Narvs save outside, go peek this, and then if it's not a character, just reset.
Yeah, you still can't warp out of World of Balance Narsh Mountain, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Chat asking, no one did well caving into Kefka at Narsh. Well, Narvs, I guess he just never did it at all, so I'm gonna combine these two checks. I think that's fine.
Okay, then yeah, I think the plan, still you'd like to save that walk, but you were gonna do this boss out either way, so not gonna reset out of two checks, especially if this vanilla Welk ends up giving a Esper, which, given the count, I believe nobodywar has done this already. I think we are going to see an Esper.
Yeah.
Was it Shiva? Ifrit. I was close.
I like the same thing.
They hang out together.
They're buds. Okay, so yeah, Narv's going to go the mountain. Totally agree. And I guess at this point, you just do... it's probably a character, but you do it regardless, just because you're already up there. You've already gotten the reward from Welk. No reason to warp out now.
Now, a good bring up. It was 24 checks, I believe we were looking at, and I bring that up just like Schwantz mentioned this in chat. We've done a lot of dead. We're at the point now where we see Kefka and Narsh is not a character, so everything is gonna funnel through this Zozo check. I wonder if we get to the point where that actually gets on the table for nobodywar.
Well, if nobodywar decides to fade Kefka and Narsh and just goes and jams Zozo, he's going to be eating good. He is currently one Esper up on Narvs. And I'm not 100% sure where he got that Esper from.
Oh, it's the throne. Oh, that could totally still come to play here.
That's right, because Narvs forgot the throne.
Oh boy.
Wow.
So I think the worry here is that if you end up let's look at the characters we have left. If this is, say, Mog, well, we may not get any espers from that check before we get another character. But if it's like, I loathe when this happens, when you're funneled into one check and then Shadow shows up.
Oh
You're
yeah.
like, oh, I didn't want to do Floating Continent an hour into the game, but here we are.
Yeah, the FC at an hour feels really bad, but I also think that is the correct play. Like if it happens to be Shadow at Zozo. So yeah, if nobodywar just goes there, and I don't know. I think that if I'm in nobodywar shoes, I also go up Kefka at Narsh. And you feel real bad about it, but he's in a better position to where he can just reset out of whatever's there, and it looks like he's doing just that.
Okay, yeah, that's and we've done the wall check here. Did he save outside?
I don't think he did. I have to hoof it back.
Because yeah, we did just finish Serpent Trench.
Yeah, he can't reset, otherwise he has to do the trench again, and that puts him very firmly behind narvs.
Well, I think you do. Rather than resetting, you might just try to do this for the Esper. Hope that it gives number 9.
Chat saying that he saved at IKEA, so okay.
He did save at IKEA. Okay. Yeah, I know there's a habit sometimes of saving before you get into the airship, just carrying over from early on in case you have to go to World of Ruin, and the Doomgaze check is still there, so then your save habit just leaks through.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see which character is going to have the checks that we have to do. What are you rooting for here?
I would love to see Celeste. I would also love to see Doomgaze, and oh my gosh, look, there he is.
Hey, he's not in Kefka's Tower for a change.
One thing that it is important to note is that Narvs is going to have an easier time climbing up Kefka Tower because like he already cleared the center path, so he just has to worry about the wings. And look at those beefy Sortex 7s coming out there. 5k a pop. Yeah, Doomgaze is done. Done gaze.
Yeah, Narvs has his plan of attack ready to go for the rest of the game.
Oh yeah.
He hardly needs to do any menuing now from this point.
So we'll see who it is. Oh
no!
It's Strago. Oh no!
Oh, that's awful. And the first check we're gonna probably end up doing here. Oh,
it's
well, let's
be Ebbett's Rock.
But I think it's gonna be Ebbett's Rock. Yeah, that's probably like I'd almost rather see Shadow over Strago as far as checks go.
Yeah. Well, so the uncomfortable thing is that it means that Narvs is probably going to get an 8th character.
Yeah.
I say uncomfortable. It's probably fine because whatever character you get is going to have better checks than Strago. And there's Celeste. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't hate this.
You're probably like because Narvs doesn't. This is another after effect of not having the throne check to where you have 2 Espers. You would have to hit no dead checks and everything to be perfect, but you could get in go mode from the Strago checks if you were sitting at 7 and 8, right? If you got this character, or if you got 2 Espers, then you're good to go. Narvs doesn't know that. He knows he needs 3 Espers and he has 3 checks on the table. So could be thinking, I need to do this to open up more checks. Nobodywar might not do that. And if the difference between your opponent is the apparent inspiration for the back of Shinra entrance and the 9 million stairs of Fnatic's tower, giving just a Mega Elixir and a Celeste, that could be very significant. Counterpoint, I guess, would be Burning House and Everrot Sting. We don't want to do those.
Well, like ideally, you don't do any of Stray Ghost checks, right? But I think for Narvs, this is correct. In theory, he could get all of his Espers by doing two of Stray Ghost checks and the Auction House. Auction House is definitely in play, especially for both of these.
God about the Auction House because no go away soapbox. You can come back at a later time. But yeah, this is a nice boss to find here. I mean, the Flame Eater, we have Ultima, we have Flare. It's not terribly fast, but
no, it'll get the job done. And nobodywar gonna high five Narvs here in Fnatic's tower, and I think in his shoes, I don't like this play as much. I think it's still fine. Because now it's really easy to just do Magitech 1 and 2 and then warp out and do whatever other checks you want to do. This will also give him his fourth dragon. And how about another vanilla dragon?
They are randomizing this flag set, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I've seen it mixed around before, believe me.
All right, so yeah, we'll see what I mean. It could also just be the aversion to the Burning House. Like there's a reason it's almost kind of a meme. And I know a couple of runners have Burning House emotes for chat, so it could just be Strago checks. Ew. I'll do this. I'll do the 100 staircase if it means I don't have to do that, and I can do something like Magitech facility or the free check in South Figaro.
Right, and it makes more sense for Narvs to do that. Nobodywar, like, it's fine. Chat is pointing out that this is going to guarantee the skip for him. That Mega Elixir is also nice to see.
Yeah, you want one.
So
you can go up and do the dragon?
Well... I'm trying to figure out what nobodywar actually does. Like, does he just do that, or does he actually go? Because I would actually love to see a burning house play, especially if the fixed encounters are like EXP dense.
And seems where you've had to do Leet River and Burning House. We drew a good one, folks.
Sometimes it's just that way.
All right, so Narvs is gonna do the free one first. Do you like to walk out the back or walk out the front when you're just doing this check?
Walking out the back is a lot faster.
I agree.
It saves like some significant number of seconds. It is an Esper.
All right, that's 8. So if the delta between Esper 9 and 10 for Narvs isn't that great, then not checking the throne doesn't hurt quite as bad. And we do have a check where we could get to Magicite in quick succession in the Magitech. So if that's where Narvs goes next, it could be a pretty big moment here.
And I think he is. The question is one of these dead?
Yeah.
Right. I think that there's a good chance that one of them will be in Esper, but if both of them are not, then Narvs is in trouble, and nobodywar is not.
And we still have a. Well, that's no right. So I guess that means we only have for character 9. Not that we want character 9, but if we end up doing checks other than Magitech, especially on nobodywar side, it does increase the chance of seeing another character at either Opera House or the Strago checks. Just because we just don't have a lot of checks on the table now for our runners.
Well, I'm hoping for Narv's sake that both of these are live.
Yeah.
But...
yeah, the delta between 9 and 10 is Magitech 3. That's pretty big.
Is there a universe where Narvs does Magitech 3? I think that you warp out and do a Strago check in lieu of that, and then just hope beyond hope that Magitech 3 is just not what you need.
It is guaranteed, right?
It is guaranteed,
It's
but
something.
it's also really likely that it's a character at the end.
Yeah, like we were saying before, there's just the characters have to be somewhere, and we don't have a lot of checks.
How about Fun Robert here for Narvs? This should be ultimately very safe, but very slow. He has a pile of HP, and throw is a good ability. Wouldn't you know it?
The one place I like to use poison rods.
Chat asking, at least M3 gives the rest of Magitech for Gal. It does not. Not in any of the Warring Triad flag sets. Right. You start with the 3 elemental beams and heal force, and that's all you get.
I wonder if nobody was low on warp stones.
Yeah, he is. So he's gonna go buy some more so he can get out of here.
Yep.
Okay. Well, so that's Odin there for Narvs. If this is live, the Narvs is fine. But
right.
Narvs also could have just been on his way right now.
Yeah, the difference between Magitech 1 and 2, I think, is about as optimistic a scenario as you can hope for for getting an Esper at a spot.
So as long as the spot isn't bad, and it's not.
Yeah, all right. Falcon hit, we could be like, back in our day, we had a Cyan Terra start, we could have grinded off Tech Missile in the Dometry. Obscure and hard to do leveling techniques.
Little did y'all know that Falcon Hit is like 7,000 years old. He started agriculture. Like, it's wild.
All right, good use of taking advantage of the second form of the Behemoth not having ID protection. So Odin gets to do Odin things, and it is an Esper. So okay. we're gonna have a race here. Narvs, you gotta put him in the lead, right?
Well, he's got the unlock, and nobodywar doesn't. Plus, Narvs, all he has to do is do the wings. The nobodywar has to clear everything. So, yeah, Narvs fading the throne, a play hitherto unheard of, and it works out.
something fade Antlion Cave. Yeah, we'll see if the Kefka fights end up being the great equalizer it can be sometimes. Totally not over here. But now, if this gets nobodywar the skip, that's going to make up a little bit of the time, right?
It does make up a little bit of it for sure, because Narvs doesn't have it. Narvs has to walk back up the entirety of the tower, but it's only going to take him 4-ish minutes to do so.
Yeah, and he's gonna have to do 2 characters at Poltergeist and 1 character at...
Oh, Narvs had to skip 2. Never mind.
Okay, there you go. Wow, we've done a lot of checks.
Yeah.
For being at an hour 15 and having a 24 check clear on both sides, is really impressive.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there's that Sortec 7 from Cyan, but you see how little damage it does when compared to what Narvs is doing with his. That's 2k versus 6k per swing. So Narvs definitely has the damage advantage here. So as long as the tiers treat him kindly, and as long as the statues don't just mess him up, and he knows what the statues are, so he should be fine.
Right. Level 62 Cyan. just kind of funny to see. Yeah, nobodywar did not pick up Celeste's Cell, so the difference in checks is the 10th Esper, where nobodywar has the Throne on Doma, and Narvs has the South Figaro check.
Right. What a seed this has been. Here we were, like we were talking at the start, we didn't think that the skip was going to be in play, and yet
Yeah, here
we
it
are.
is. Yep. You never know how it's going to be. Now, the goddess fight is the one where you kind of want to. I mean, granted, Narvs' power is through the roof anyway, but
Yeah.
you want to. If you know where it's going to be, the concern here is if you're relying on a physical attack and you get love tokened, you don't love that token. It's
You
going
do
to
not.
nullify your physical attacks, but it didn't come out on the first hit, and then Sword Tech 7 handles the rest.
Yeah, Goddess just sat there. Knew that she was in trouble and was just like, all right, I'll see you later, I guess.
He's like, well, you already have Overcast on you. That's my whole gimmick. So what am I going to do?
Okay, so we're through there, and I believe that Narvs' Illumina wielder is facing down Doom, so that shouldn't be an issue either.
Yeah, I think there are some weapons that may not have guaranteed 100% hit, where the blink can just be annoying. Like, it's not a hindrance to your fight, but blink in this game, the effect isn't fixed. It's a random chance, so it could go away in 1 hit. It could go away in 10 if you're really lucky, or in Doom's case, unlucky.
Yeah, I believe it's a 25% chance for image to fade every time a physical attack is made against the target.
Yeah, so that can be annoying, but we do have weapons that do not care about your silly blink. Today I learned Heal Rod is actually one of those weapons.
Heal Rod is a funny weapon for a number of different reasons. Primarily that if you try to throw it, it defaults to targeting your party. And if you've ever thrown a Heal Rod at your party, congratulations, you're a true Worlds Collide player.
Yeah, no, I mean, because the one flag set I've been playing around with has been the Doom flag set, and it's a very feasible heal when your team has auto reflect and auto image, and you rely on a lot of HP weapons. So, yeah,
It's also like very hidden tech. If you have a curse shield that needs to be decursed, it gives your decurser something useful to do while they are confused. So
yeah. I didn't even think about that. That's right. They're gonna hit your own party with a heal rod. Oh no.
it's pretty rare that it comes up, honestly. I know that I personally, like, if I get a heal rod, I just sell it because it's usually more valuable as money than as a stick.
Right. I mean, that's the best part about a lot of these randomizers, right? You get the niche use cases that you're not going to see in a vanilla game that just don't come up, like heal rod confuse strats.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Narv stepping on the switches at around 119.44. Nobodywar stepping on a different pair of switches at about the same time. So Narvs has a pretty commanding lead here. Nobodywar has to deal with 4 bosses. Narvs has power overwhelming and really should not have any difficulty with the tiers, but the tiers are not free. So
No. I mean, it only takes one bad placed Doom Tusk or Sleep deciding to take 2 consecutive turns to just kind of ruin your day.
yeah, the whirlwind into a counter medio is
Oh, that's never
a
fun.
classic combo.
Yeah. Even K2, we don't have auto image on this flag set, so if you're relying on something that's AoE or something that's going to kill the last 2 at the same time, having the quarter into 10 hits can be kind of harrowing at times too.
Oh, 100%.
But we're going to utilize Sortek 8. It's guaranteed ID or guaranteed kill if they don't have ID protection, which the bottom left doesn't. Much more reliable than Odin, but has Odin queued up just in case it didn't. You do want to get the head down first to avoid a final attack quake, but our levels may be at the point where we just don't care about that.
Yeah, a quake does about 2,500 to the party, so like only Gal really cares. But at the same time, you might as well just do it. It doesn't really matter.
It was down already. Wow.
Yeah. By the time we're done explaining a thing, Narvs has already killed it. So, tier 2 here, probably the most technical of the tiers. You need to mute magic, which is the blonde gentleman to the left, pointing away. And the tools, which is the lady in red next to a bunch of machinery. She is vulnerable to instant death. So, you can go ahead and get all of that queued up. Also, little did you know that everything dies to damage. If you do enough damage to it, it goes away. So Ultima is basically instant death, except not. Quad 9s on every target, though, feels pretty good.
Yeah, he's been sitting on that magic tower +2, I'd imagine, for a little bit here, and we've got plenty of levels with it on it. So Sortek 8's going to take care of tools. The other main threat, the cat can do Doom Tusk, but it needs to be alive to cast that, and it may not be alive for very long.
I think it just died, and I think that magic is going to be not terribly far behind.
Does Shell affect the chance of status effects hitting?
It does not, no.
Okay.
That is determined almost entirely by stamina.
Right.
Shell just reduces the magic damage that you take by, I want to say, a third. And then this beefy
28,000
Sortek 7 is going to put in magic. So don't need to mute if you just kill it. And just gets a single dispel. Narvs is on tier 3. This is flying.
Yeah, we could see a Kefka time like right around 7 minutes or so. Like usually this fight is over 10 minutes, to where if you take a wipe at like K4, nobodywar, who still had the statues to do, could be right on the tail. But we have a lot of HP. I other than Setzer, as long as we don't see something like Whirlwind.
I don't even think Whirlwind does anything at this point. Now, Golem does exist, and you can multi-target in this flag set, like we mentioned at the start. Doesn't really matter for this, because
for K4,
yeah. But even then, though, like I think you can do Kefka 4 in about 30 seconds.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like, if you do have on Nobody's War side, if you're not icing Kefka in 5 turns, and I've definitely seen a run or two go haywire from a double Havoc wing.
Well, here's Train. So, hey, Soul Sister. I'm sorry. I will never do that again.
No, that's totally fine. It's the one ability that makes me pick up echo screens and eye drops in a shop. And here comes the Meteos.
Very lucky miss on the Meteo there. So, yep, Narvs on to tier 4. Final Kefka is not going to last very long.
Yeah, we could get a skip of Fallen 1 here if we do enough damage quickly.
I would be very surprised if the Fallen skip does not happen.
It's what, 45? 42?
Oh, it's not quite that much.
Fred said it on stream, and I was like, oh, good to know that's the number, and then I forgot it in about 2 seconds.
Yeah, we're more likely to see an Ultima than a Fallen one. And even an Ultima, like, it kind of doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, that damage
Cyan
is
is just
almost
so
fixed.
strong.
And does not eye drops or darkness on your character does not matter with Sortex 7.
No, it does matter for specifically for Setzer, who lands the hit anyway.
Yeah,
Okay,
there it
well,
is.
here's the Goner charge, so he will not counter while Goner is charging. And I think he's just dead. Might need
Yeah,
one more swing here. Nope.
the 2 Mega Elixirs are nice to have. We're probably not going to use them.
Yeah, and there's the crack POW for narvs, about 126.41.
That's considering the amount of checks we did. That's a really good time just straight up.
Yeah,
But
phenomenal
also
time.
having done 24 checks.
Yep.
That's really good.
That's what I was talking about earlier with narvs getting that. Yeah, he's going to jail.
I hadn't seen that before.
Yeah, that is a fun side effect of bringing the condemn timer into Final Kefka. So, yep, enjoy Kefka rotting in jail for his crimes.
Kefka locked up.
But that just goes to show you why you always check Coliseum. Finding that EXP egg, finding that Illumina.
Yeah,
A bunch of
that's
other
been
goodies
the
too.
main difference here.
Yeah, just that gave him the ability to just steamroll the entire seed. So let's see if we can get him in here for an interview. And there he is, the man of the hour. GG's Narvs, congratulations on your first place victory.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a very offense heavy goddess run. You don't usually get those.
Yeah, finding that early egg and that early Illumina just really, really allowed you to take control of the seed. So GG's on finding that.
Yeah, first thing chest I open in a clock. Find a reg. I was like, well, that sets the tone.
Yep, that too. Is a Coliseum play for goddess flags, like, do you normally do that, or is it kind of dependent on what you find?
Most times it is. Being that most dead checks are not anything offensive, I find that if you're trying to get, especially an early offense, checking that early Coliseum can make a huge difference for just getting at least started, if not end game items, which we found Illuminas and Gauntlets, and I can't remember, there's something else in there too I got.
All kinds of wonders, right? So I do need to point something out to you, and this might sting, but there was an Esper at Doma Dream on the throne.
I missed it?
Yes, sir, you did.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe that. I just walked out, huh?
So, and well, we were talking about it too, right? Because when you went into Magitech, the worry for me was that, like, you would get one Esper, and then the next check would be dead. And if that happened, like, what was your plan? Like, if that were the case,
Auction house.
okay.
That was my last Esper, would be auction house. I would see, I mean, I don't know if there was one in there, but that would be my next go-to.
Okay, and we were talking about that too. Nobody checked it. Excuse me, I need to rephrase because the racer's named Nobody. Neither of you checked it. So we're not sure if auction house was live or not, but that was basically my main worry for you. Otherwise, you are a part of Team Minerva. You get the win here. What are you hoping for, like, as far as the rest of the event goes?
I don't know. It's I've had a pretty good run for this event, and I'm trying to stick with that. Our team's had a pretty good run. Yeah, I've just really liked this event overall because each person on the team feels like they really do matter. Nonetheless, even if they don't get the win, but that margin of difference, it plays a big role. For even any ties that that are going to come up, since it's only 6 weeks. The whole run of the original part here.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I have anything else for you. How are you liking the event so far, just overall?
I've liked it a lot. The seeds are somewhat similar to what we're kind of used to, but just enough tweaks to them that they play very differently, especially with the changes in rewards that you can get. Lacking of certain elemental spells. For this run, too, I felt like I only had one character that could deal with Goddess well. I mean, I know I was super over-leveled by the end, which is kind of why I did that single run check and then came back. I wasn't sure I was going to get 24 checks. That surprised me for the skip. But only Sword Tech that I feel like really had the strong offense to take Goddess out without struggling, because a Ragnarok or Luna can fight her with hopefully Illumina doesn't proc, but if she love tokens, I didn't have much else to take her on with.
Exactly. Yeah, and you had a really beefy sword tech too. That was like about 7.5K a pop with a level like 63, 64 cyan. Disgusting.
Yep. I found XP egg early in the Coliseum, immediately dropped it on, didn't ever even question that anybody else. And especially he was Cyan, he was going to unlock his own ability.
Yeah, that's always nice too when you get a sword tech cyan. That's the one vanilla cyan that I can actually, or the one cyan that I can actually tolerate is the vanilla one. But totally agree with you too about the flag sets. I love how it makes you think a little bit differently about each one and how to approach each of the seeds. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that you're having fun. And once again, GG's on your victory here today. Flurry, what do you have for our runner here?
I think the main question I'd ask is what are the conditions for you in a run? We noticed that you did the early Kefka Tower dive. Is that something you tend to do regardless, just to avoid having to single character two of the statues and having the knowledge of which statue is where? Or does this particular seed have something that made you want to do that strat?
Sure. There's a couple logic that I kind of use when deciding if I'm going to do that single party strat up the middle. One thing is if I feel like I have enough coverage to hit the other, knowing the knowledge, which one's Goddess, which one's Poltergeist, Doom, I don't really worry about too much. But I hate when I find myself, splitting individual party members, and I can't guarantee I can deal with that statue. So having that knowledge is a big deal. The other part is if I get early 6 party members and I feel like I have a decent enough offense in my 4 party, I'm going to run it then. Just to take advantage of the levels and scale myself really high before going back out and doing everything else and making all those other bosses much easier. So there's kind of a 2 parts. I find Goddess and Poltergeist have worked very well for me to do that single lane and come back. Versus Doom, your offense is so high on most characters by the end because all the dead checks that I don't do the middle run very often. I don't think at all very much with the Doom seed.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think the difference in power was between getting the levels at mid game from KT, and then just steamrolling everything else, and then getting the Ragna clock and the Illumina from the auction house was a pretty huge deal. You both ended up with an experience egg. You got yours from the Coliseum. Nobody, I believe, got his from South Figaro Basement.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, that just difference in power really just leaked all across the seed, and yeah, ended up with one of the fastest Kefka fights I've seen. So really nicely done.
Thank you.
And yeah, that's all I got.
All right, Narvs, any final memes before we let you go?
No, I do like Ragnaclock. That's a great name.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for you guys putting on for these restreams. It's great. I love watching them because it's a lot of seeds and flag sets that I'll have to do myself, and to watch other people tackle it, it's always great.
Well, once again, thanks for agreeing to be on the restream. The race doesn't happen without the runners. So thanks for putting on a great show. And once again, congrats on bringing one home for Team Minerva.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
And that does remind me, chat, if you like what our runners have put on for you, then please, why don't you go give them a follow? Nobodywar and Narvs, both of them excellent runners in their own right. Definitely more than deserving of your follow if you wish to give it out.
Yeah, looks like we're on K2 for nobodywar, you can see the difference in fixed die, especially a single shot fixed dice, just not quite scaling quite as well. Still getting through it. We've done 24 checks, so we're going to have a pretty fair amount of levels. Terra at 7k HP Atman weapon, where art thou?
Right. And this is the real power of any warring triad seed, right? Where you're normally in like the mid to upper 40s by the time you get into Kefka's Tower, and here it's even more than that. So even though he doesn't quite have the explosive power that Narvs had, he's still going to be able to get through this no problem. He does have to watch for this zombie
Condemn
Celestial.
timer. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. You don't want to lose these characters, and we already have one zombie now.
Yep. So we better reviv. Chat asking, how did Cyan get poisoned? Oh, nobodywar taken a reset. That is super unfortunate. Cyan got poisoned. Okay, it looks like, did he forfeit? One second here.
Yes.
We're having some.
Yes.
Okay, so he did just put in the FF. Okay. Well, I was going to say that Cyan got poisoned because Magic cast poison on him, which is very mild for him. Normally, he likes to do the full party bio, but
yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, nobodywar taking the FF there. Gonna be a differential of 30 minutes between him and Narvs. So that is per the warring triad rules for forfeits. So unfortunate that he did. He could have had a pretty good Kefka time, probably about a 10-minute delta. But
yeah, those Kefka wipes though, I feel that.
The Kefka wipes, honestly, I think it started with the bridge trolls earlier.
Yeah.
Getting tossed like 6 or 7 times, just it never feels good. So at any rate, that is going to be a victory under the belt for Team Minerva. Now, Team Minerva still has 2 members left to play. Let me see. So you've got Jackamus, a phenomenal runner in his own right, and Fiery Blizzard, who has to play against Overswarm and Lunar Chimera, respectively. So ought to be some really good matches. I'm actually looking forward to seeing that later in the week. But a lot on the line for Team Valiant here. Will this be the week that they get their first loss?
Yep, got to win the next 2.
Exactly. But otherwise, I think that that's all we have got for you here today. I want to thank everybody in chat for watching. I hope that you all had fun. In about an hour and 15 minutes, we will be back with another race, this time between myself and Green Monkey, doing a Doom Seed. Myself representing Team Grand Train. Excuse me, and Green Monkey representing Team Ultima. So that ought to be a great match to watch as well. I hope to see you all there. But that's all I've got for you. Flurry, what do you have?
This has been really fun. I think it's pretty neat to see, we're thinking 10, 14, 24 is no chance we see a KT skip, and sure enough, we see a KT skip on both sides. So, yeah, and it definitely encourage, if you like this one, the difference between the flag sets can be very different. And if you liked watching Narvs push the fight command and deal out a whole lot of damage, you will like Doom's Rage flag set. There's going to be quite a bit of punching and sword hitting and gambling and all that good stuff. So be sure to check that out. That will be in about an hour 15.
Yes, indeed.
And yeah, we'll be wrapping that up. We'll be getting that in. I believe we have a third match later on tonight at 8 o'clock Pacific, 11 Eastern. That one is going to be Ceiling Cat versus JS 8271986. So check that one out too.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Flurry. And thank you so much for being my co-commentator here. Big shout outs to the Schwantz27 for doing the restream here, and to Scarserver for pushing the buttons behind the scenes and doing a phenomenal job with the tracking. Give them all a follow too. They are more than deserving of it. In any case, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. We hope to see you back here in about an hour. And take care. Have a good night, regardless.
Good night, y'all.